Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to dive right into decoding the fundamental law of physics that basically governs every single cryptocurrency out there. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by endless claims of next-generation, hyper-fast crypto networks, well, you are in exactly the right place.
Every new blockchain makes the same promise. We're faster, cheaper, and more secure than Bitcoin and Ethereum. I mean, if you've spent even a day in the crypto space, this marketing pitch sounds incredibly familiar, right? Every new project out there claims to have finally solved the ultimate puzzle.
But that leads us to a multi-trillion-dollar question. Why have thousands of blockchains failed to deliver on all three of those promises at once, even after 15 years? Spoiler alert, it's not because the developers aren't smart enough. It's actually a strict rule of physics.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the immutable law. Second, the slow and secure giants. Third, the true cost of speed. Fourth, cheating the trilemma. And finally, number 5, building a resilient portfolio.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the immutable law, the rule you absolutely cannot break.
So, coined by Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin, the Blockchain Trilemma dictates that a base layer network can only optimize for 2 of 3 properties: decentralization, scalability, or speed. The brutal reality here is that picking any 2 corners inherently forces you to sacrifice the third. You literally cannot have it all.
Think of it kind of like the classic restaurant dilemma. You want a meal that is cheap, fast, and high quality. Well, you've got to pick 2. Fast and cheap, you're getting a drive-through burger, but the quality definitely suffers. Cheap and high quality, that's mom's home cooking, but it certainly isn't fast, and you might be waiting until Thanksgiving for it. Blockchains face this exact same architectural trade-off.
Moving on to Section 2, the slow and secure giants, why Bitcoin and Ethereum are built exactly like vaults.
When we compare the performance of the titans, Bitcoin is just chugging along with a 10-minute block time and a maximum of 7 transactions per second. Ethereum is a bit faster at 12 seconds, but still only manages about 15 to 30 TPS. But here is the critical trade-off. A Bitcoin node can run on a $300 laptop. By keeping hardware requirements incredibly low, literally anyone on Earth can run a node. They intentionally sacrifice speed to maximize absolute decentralization.
And what does all that radical decentralization actually buy you? $10 billion. That's the estimated cost in specialized hardware and electricity you'd need just to launch a 51% attack on Bitcoin. With over 50,000 separate computers running the chain globally, it's an impenetrable fortress. That sluggish speed? It's a feature, not a bug.
All right, Section 3, the true cost of speed, sacrificing the foundation for 50,000 TPS.
Now let's flip the script and look at the fast chains. BNB Chain gets you lightning-fast 3-second blocks, but it relies on just 21 validators. Solana pushes out 400 millisecond blocks, which feels just like a snappy Web 2 app, but it runs on roughly 1,500 highly expensive validator servers. To get that blistering speed, you absolutely must centralize power into far fewer elite machines.
So what's the real risk of that centralization? 8. That is the number of major outages Solana experienced in just 4 years. Because there are fewer nodes, if a bug hits the leader or spam floods the network, the whole system can and does literally grind to a halt.
See, when a chain has fewer nodes, a coordinated failure stops the entire network. You absolutely get Web 2 speed, which, don't get me wrong, is incredible for trading and gaming, but you also inherit Web 2 downtime. They've chosen the speed and scale corners of the trilemma. That means they just aren't the decentralized, unstoppable vaults you necessarily want for your life savings.
Which brings us to Section 4, cheating the trilemma, building a city on top of the vault.
I love this analogy. Think of a base layer, like Ethereum, as the Supreme Court. It's highly secure, very slow, incredibly expensive, but absolutely final. Layer 2 solutions? Those are your lower local courts. They're fast, cheap, and they handle 99% of everyday cases. You really only go to the Supreme Court when there's a major dispute to settle. So here's how this architectural loophole actually works. Let's say you're using a Layer 2 rollup. First, thousands of users make rapid, dirt-cheap trades on Layer 2. Next, the network bundles those thousands of transactions together into one complex mathematical proof. It then posts that single proof down to Layer 1, Ethereum, paying just one flat fee. Finally, Ethereum securely checks and finalizes all of them at once. You get incredible speed while mathematically inheriting ironclad security. Because of this brilliant framework, the entire industry has shifted. Every major chain scales via layers now. We have optimistic rollups like Arbitrum and Base, highly mathematical ZK rollups like ZK Sync, sidechains like Polygon, and even Bitcoin scales payments via its own Layer 2, the Lightning Network. Nobody's really trying to break the trilemma on the base layer anymore, they just build on top of it.
Finally, Section 5. Building a resilient portfolio, turning the trilemma into a weapon.
So the next time a hyped-up new token promises 100,000 transactions per second for a fraction of a penny while remaining fully decentralized, run it through the Trilemma scoring card. Can a normal person run a node on a cheap PC? Are there fewer than 100 validators? Has the network halted recently? Does it rely on fragile bridges? If a project claims to have mastered all three corners seamlessly, they're lying. They're definitely hiding a sacrifice.
Understanding this trade-off naturally leads us to the barbell portfolio strategy. You allocate 45% in the ultimate security corner, holding base layer Bitcoin and Ethereum in a cold wallet as a vault. You put another 45% in the scale corner, layer 2 ecosystems like Arbitrum or Base, where safe DeFi growth happens. Then, allocate just 10% to the high-risk speed corner, the fast L1s like Solana or Sui. Your main capital is protected by the Trilemma security, while a small fraction captures the massive upside of pure speed.
The ultimate takeaway is this. The future is absolutely multi-chain. The trilemma forces specialization, so there will never be one chain to rule them all. We're going to use Bitcoin as a global vault, Ethereum and its L2s for massive global settlement, and ultra-fast chains for gaming and micropayments. Embracing these trade-offs instead of fighting them is your ultimate compounding edge.
Which leaves us with this final thought. The trilemma isn't a problem to be solved. It's a map to navigate the entire crypto universe. So taking a hard look at your own investments, which corner of the future are you betting on? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.